this sun is going in and out, so my shot's gonna look a little funky because you set your camera on a certain settings, anticipating that the light will be consistent. But the sun likes to do his own thing. But I want to talk briefly today about uh, a statement that my friend Dave Pastor. Dave's been on this channel before, but he's a part of this Wednesday morning group. This group of guys I told you about. We get together and we nerd out about some type of theological issue. We're reading this book called "The Courage to Be" by Paul Tillich. And there's a line that Dave shared. I'm not sure if this is Dave's reinterpretation of what he read in Tillich, but it was just so good that I've been thinking about it all day, first of all, and I wanted to make a video about it. So Dave said that love is letting a part of you die. This is what it means to love, especially when it comes to the relationships that we may have with other human beings. I think what makes love so difficult is that in choosing to love, we are saying no to something else. When I choose to love my friend, I'm saying no to just saving and hoarding all that love for myself. Does that make sense? And it's not saying that I'm, completely neglecting myself, but in this particular situation or conversation or circumstance, I'm willing to say no to me so that I can say yes to this human being right in front of me. And this made a lot of sense to me, and this really connected the dot for me as to why it could be so difficult to love. Because this is the challenge that we have as followers of Jesus. I think we're called to love, but it's difficult. And I think part of what makes it difficult is that we don't want to die. There's something that we don't want to lose or sacrifice or say no to, even if it's just for a moment, for the sake of this other human being or for the sake of creation or for the sake of whatever. And I think this is what love costs. This is the cost of love. And this makes so much sense to me because in, I believe, First John, maybe the first one of John's first epistles, he talks about love, and he compares the cross, or he says it says something along the lines of the cross being a great example of God's love for us. This is how we know God's love for us, because of the cross. And that hasn't really made sense to me, but this idea that I heard from Dave really connected that dot for me. So yeah, Jesus shows his love for humanity because he was willing to die, and he did die for humanity, for the sake of love, for the sake of love being shared. And this is the cost of love, death. And for some of us, of course, many of us, it's not going to be a literal death. It's going to be a metaphorical death of some sense. Maybe it's a death of my ego, or death of, I don't know, control. Because as I'm loving, I'm giving up control. I'm giving up something. I'm letting something go so that someone else can receive it. And it can be a scary thing to do that. But I believe this is what it means to be human, to risk, to make a risk for the sake of love, to love, not knowing how that love may be received or even reciprocated or not. So I'm out here just thinking about ways that I can be eager to give my love without accepting anything in return. Because I think this is what it truly means to die for the sake of love, to just let it go freely, responsibly, I think, but to let it go nonetheless, and to be willing to die for the sake of my wife, to die for the sake of my coworker or my boss, or whatever you want to fill in the blank. Are we willing to die for the sake of love? And of course, this is a term, and maybe these thoughts that I'm sharing, you need wisdom to apply these. So just don't run with this and say, "Oh, I need to just be willy nilly." But my prayer, my hope is that through the Spirit, through your relationship with the Spirit, you may discern what it may mean for you to die for the sake of love. Because there's a cost to love, but the cost is always worth the risk or the reward. I'm sorry. The reward is always worth the risk. That's a good way to say it. The reward is always worth the risk, even if it's not something that rewards me. Even if it's just a gift for somebody else and it just stays with them. These are just some random thoughts I had just thinking about that phrase that Dave Pastor shared. Once again, he said that to love, we have to be willing to die in order to love effectively. So nibble on this a little bit. I hope that maybe some of this has helped you in your perspective on love. And I pray God's blessings as you do just that, as you love, as you learn what it means to love, as you ask yourself on a regular basis, God, what does it mean for me to love in this moment? And I pray that God may reveal to you exactly what you need to see. Thank you for watching.
Don't be fooled. This Jesus you heard about is not who they say